Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's press conference. We have with us Mr. Bharti Arun, bowling coach of the Indian cricket team. And throughout the tour, we've followed a process. We shall stick to that process. Please put yourself on mute and turn your camera off. And whenever you are asked to ask a question, it is only then that you go ahead and give sufficient time. Do not jump in, please. And we shall you can use the chat option or raise your hand option, and we will come to you once I see your raised hand, or once you've shown interest in the chat option. Yes, we shall begin now. Yes, Sydney Kiran.
Congratulations, Bharat sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we all saw how challenging this tour was. Like match after match, you just kept losing bowlers after bowlers, and then you pretty much had a very green on attack. So how challenging was it personally for you? And of course, you worked a lot with all these kids from a few years. So what were the words that you sent them? What are the message that you gave them? And how did you sort of get them so equipped in the very second, third match they were playing?
See, actually, the Australian tour itself is a great challenge that any past cricketer who's toured Australia, or any of you watching would know that it's probably one of the most challenging tours. And especially during this COVID times, I thought it was a great move by Ravi Shastri also to hold back all the bowlers who had come as net bowlers. Actually, after the one-day series, most of them were supposed to go back, but somehow we probably thought that in case anything happens to a player, then it would be impossible for anyone to come because of the restrictions. So we said we'll manage with everyone here. And because they were with us for a long period of time, it was possible for them to understand what was demanded of what it demands to be successful in Australia, and work on those very lines. So them being with us did help a great deal.
Yes, Bharat Sharma. Yes, sir, Bharat Sharma has sent a question. I will read that out. India now has a good team of fast bowlers. Do you think that Brisbane Test is an indicator that as and whenever we are in need, whenever Ishan Shami are not available, the transition phase will be smooth with new bowlers coming in like Siraj Saini and Shardul?
See, it is not done right now. We had been planning this over the last 3 years. We said we need an excellent bench strength, because if you need India to be sustainingly doing well at international level, you need a pool of bowlers who would be rotated time and again so that they stay fresh. And at any given point of time, any match, you would be fielding a fresh set of bowlers who are raring to go, and who are very good at the international scene. So now we are blessed with this great bench strength. So it's very, very heartening to know that these guys have come to the party. They've been given the opportunity. They have gone on and done an excellent job for the country. I think this tour would give them the necessary confidence to do well for the country at any given point of time.
Yes, Venkat Krishna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sir, when do you think that a bowler who's coming into this team is ready? You tend to give some time before he's makes his debut. Saini was there in New Zealand, and there now here he made his debut. So when do you think that this particular bowler is ready to make his big step?
See, I think anyone who plays for who's selected to play for the country is ready and good enough. But then the challenge would be at the highest level. Consistency is the key. I think all these boys like Saini or Shardul Thakur and Mohammad Siraj have been in and out of the Indian team in the last 2-3 years, and they perfectly understand what it demands to be successful here. And also the fact, when you analyze why has the Indian bowling been so successful, and if you look at the track record of what Nishant Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, and Mohammad Shami and Umesh Yadav had done, if the bottom line would be consistency. They have been absolutely consistent, executing your skill with a lot of intent and with consistency. That is going to be the key to success. So these guys are there, been there with us. They're watching, they're learning, and then when given the opportunity, I thought they took it up with both hands, and then they just came to the party.
Neeru Bhatia.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Congratulations, sir. Once
Thank
again,
you.
just wanted to know, read about the fact that, persisting with 5 bowlers, despite the fact that you had a very depleting bench strength due to injury and etc. during the tour. Essentially, how was it managed, and knowing that you had limited resources because of the bowlers were getting injured and the frontline bowlers were getting injured, still persisting with the 5 bowler theory, like how confident were you that this would be the key to kind of really taking on Australia successfully?
See, we had formed this 5 bowler theory about 3 years ago, and on most occasions we play 5 bowlers abroad, because to bowl out a team in conditions abroad, it demands a lot out of just 4 bowlers. I think it's not impossible, but it's a huge task for us to do that. So in my opinion, and in the team's opinion, Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri have been extremely firm by saying that we need to play these 5 bowlers for India to be successful abroad. Yes, sometimes you may lose matches, but to be honest, the guiding principles of this team is being fearless and being honest. So in pursuit of excellence, we are not scared, or we don't fear losing games. We will lose a few games, but then those games are going to be teaching us a lot of lessons. Sport is about failures, and how you bounce back from failures makes you a much better sportsman. And that's exactly the principle that we are going with. And even during the last test match, there were discussions about playing the extra batsman, but then we thought that would be a negative move. And all of us, the captain and the support staff, felt that the 5 bowler theory has worked for us, and let us back that principle. And also the fact that Washington Sundar, we knew that that the way he was batting in the nets and his past record things, that he's more than a capable bat, and also being a left-hander. Yes, we said, let's be positive and take the 5 bowler theory.
Shashank Kishore.
Mr. Arun, congrats. How did you as a coaching staff manage giving equal attention to all the bowlers at different stages during the tour? How much time and skill work did someone like a Washington Sundar get a chance to work on, especially given the fact that he was also drafted into the test squad in the build-up to the test series, even though he may have not featured in the first 3 tests?
See, I think most of the net sessions, our planning of the net sessions have been outstanding. I think all the support staff, they given their bit, Vikram does the net planning, and then execution is done by all of us. So, for example, very pertinent to the question that you asked me, Washington Sundar, though he was part as a net bowler during the test matches, he used to bat every day for half an hour. The batting coach made sure that they all had enough practice. They were practicing all their skills. They worked on their fielding. They worked like any other player on the tour. So that is the biggest challenge. Yes, it needed us to spend those extra hours in the nets, but we needed to give each and every one the attention, because I think it's a collective energy that feeds the Indian team, and everybody should be treated equal. That was our main motto. And whoever, including even Tyagi, who was there as a net bowler, he was given equal importance. He was given a lot of attention. And so I think in the end, it paid off. All the attention and importance that every player had been given throughout the series, when we wanted them most, they stood up and said, we'll do the job for India. And, the rest is history.
Yes, Kushan Sarkar, followed by Aruni Vasu.
Arun sir, my question to you is that, like, you have always spoken about creating a good bench strength over these years, and that had been an emphasis. So, when you see Shiraj, Shardul, Saidi, all these people performing, do you feel that very slowly, as and when the transition happens, Ishant, Shami, they are not getting any younger, maybe 2, 3 years down the line, that transition phase very quietly took place during this Australia series with this kind of a performance
Tushar bhai,
from
we
the.
just answered this question.
Okay, 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 okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Molin.
can I?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, you want me to answer that now?
If you can, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very healthy trend. It's an embarrassment of riches. Now you cannot take away the credit from what these bowlers have done. Ishant, Shami, or Umesh Yadav have been magnificent for India, and they are still got a lot of cricket in them. But as I said earlier, for us to rotate bowlers and make sure that each one is absolutely fit and raring to go to be able to bowl 140, I think this tour has taken a lot out of these boys because of the spate of injuries that have happened. But now, in the future, when we have 7 fast bowlers willing to play for the country, especially the number of test matches that we're going to play, 4 against England now and 5 in England, that's a lot of test matches if we need to give in our best performance. So I think it'll be extremely handy, more than looking at how we are going to face them out. I think they have enough cricket. Their experience is outstanding, and they are still good enough to perform for India. So yes, these boys will also be there. And we spoke about the rotation policy. They'll all be rotated and make sure we put the best team on the park.
Yes, Arani Basu.
Yeah. So you spoke about rotating the bowlers. There has been talk, about you never know when the next test match Shardul will play or Natarajan will play. So what kind of talks do you have with them? And one more thing, so what do you have to say about the spin bowling resources since Kuldeep has not played a test match since Sydney 2019? What do you have to say about that?
That's okay. Kuldeep, I think he's working hard enough. He's been excellent. I think horses for courses is the best thing. And when Kuldeep gets a chance to play, he will show what he can do, because I think he's bowling magnificently now. And in India, when we play these 4 test matches, that'll be his time. And also the spinners part of it, Jadeja and Ashwin have been magnificent. They are number 1 spinners in the number 1 and 2 spinners in the world. Plus Jadeja's rise as an all-rounder is a huge bonus for the country. The way he's batting, Jadeja is today the most complete all-rounder that we have, and that augurs exceptionally well for India. Washington Sundar, he in his first test match, he showed a lot of maturity. Every time Kuldeep Yadav has played for India, he's done exceptionally well. The only chance he got in the T20 game, he bowled a fantastic spell. So every player in this team knows that when his role comes, it'll be of great importance to the team and the team's perspective and the team's role, and they would give out their best to perform the role for the team.
Bharat Sundaresan and Deepak Raghav next.
Sir, just one thing that all of Australia and especially the former cricketers have been saying since the last day of the Gabba Test is the talk of fearlessness in this Indian team. So can you just define fearlessness in cricket and how you guys have gone about creating it as like in a team atmosphere, and why it's coming off in the middle?
See, fearlessness, you fear when you have certain goals and you're only thinking of the outcome, okay? And if you do not have the process in place, then there is an element of fear. Or you do not want to lose games, okay, you want to play it safe. So we as a team, that's exactly what Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli have been insisting with this team. We don't mind losing. Even after the Adelaide test match, yes, we need to learn to get over it. But what Ravi Shastri said to the team is, I don't even mind us losing 4-0. but we have known for the brand of cricket that we play. That should never change. We should never get conservative, and we should always look to be more positive. That is the message that has gone to this team. So this team is, even had we lost in Australia, that's not going to deter the way we play again, with the way we play cricket. But again, that paid very rich dividends, because I think the last test match that they played is the testimony to what is the attitude of the boys. They were asked to go and express themselves and take it as it comes and see where we are at tea and then take a call. But the way Rishabh Pant and Washington Sundar at that point of time played, and not forgetting the bravado which Cheteshwar Pujara showed on that day. He was like a warrior, taking a lot of blows, but he was there undeterred. And what these two boys on their own have done on the last day of the test match is taking the fight into the Aussie and not being afraid to, they were not thinking about drawing the match. They were thinking of how to win from here. And that takes a lot of courage. That is what I call fearlessness. Yes, sometimes you're bound to lose a game, but those kind of games are going to teach you some invaluable lessons, which is going to make you a much better cricketer in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Deepak Raghav.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Sir, there's been a lot of talk about how the Indian bowling attack outplanned and outbowled the Australian attack. That's something Tim Payne also spoke about. The idea of sticking to straight lines and strangling the batsman on the leg side. How did you come up with that idea? And was there a risk involved as well, in the sense that the margin of error could be sometimes a bit low? So can you just give us some insight on that?
I think that's a very, very interesting question, because I think Ravi Shastri called me sometime in July, and when we were discussing the Australian tour, he said that we need to take the offside out of the Australians. So we had our own analysis, and then we felt that most of the runs that Steve Smith and Labuschagne got, and most of the Australians, they had got a lot of runs out of the cut, the pull, and on the off. So we said now, even we took a cue out of the New Zealand attack when they bowled to Steve Smith. They had attacked more of his body line, and he had felt very, very uncomfortable at that point of time. So the plan, Ravi called me up and said, I want you to make a plan so that where you eliminate the offside for the Australians. So then we sat about and planned the whole thing. And therein lies, we said, we are going to attack more straighter lines and have onside field. So it is very difficult for batsmen to be consistently clearing the onside fields. And so that really worked for us. The thought process of it started sometime in July. And then when we had a discussion with the, first was Virat bought into the theory. We employed that same strategy in Adelaide. And then Ajinkya was magnificent from Melbourne onwards. And the bowlers responded beautifully to that.
Thank you.
We shall now take our last few questions. Indrajit Sen Gupta.
Sir, my question is that how did you insert the belief in the bowlers like Siraj, Saini, who has just played one match or two matches, that without Bumrah also we can take 20 wickets of the Australians?
See, Siraj has got a knack of taking wickets. I think he's got over 150, 200 wickets. I'm not too thing, but then Siraj has been magnificent in Ranji Trophy. He's been outstanding with the India A teams. And if you look at Shardul Thakur, time and again, he's got more than 40 wickets for Mumbai. So Saini, though he had the pace, and Natarajan lent the left-handed version for us. It was a new angle for us. So all that we were talking about is, at this level, we need to be consistent. And it's not, they all have the ability to bowl well. They all have wickets under the belt. Test cricket is no different. But the only thing is, the margin of error in Test cricket is very, very, very small. And that is the thing which they need to eliminate. So every time they were in the nets, they had to decide what lines they were going to bowl. and they had to discuss those lines with me. And my job as a coach was to give them the right feedback and assess with them how far they are satisfied with what they have done on that particular day. So on every net session, if you're looking to improve on what you want to execute, and so match becomes just an extension of the net. Of course, the pressures are different, but under pressure, the way the players have reacted under pressure and how they have taken up a challenge, they have looked upon the challenge as an opportunity to excel. I think that is what makes champions. When there is a challenge thrown at you, you look at it as a great opportunity to excel and do a job for your team, and that is what these players have done, and that's what and that has contributed for us having done exceptionally well in Australia now.
Anuj Mishra followed by Khurram Habib.
Sir, you talked about the pool of bowlers that India have built, and then you also mentioned how Sundar came as a all-rounder in the last test. When you were discussing the tricks and trips with the Shardul and Bumrah before the fourth test, did you have any idea that Shardul Thakur too can bat, or were you surprised to see him bat like that in the fourth test?
We always knew that Shardul can bat because when he had batted in a few of the one-day games, he's come up with a cameo innings on many occasions. And somebody had asked me a question earlier: how do you keep these players in top condition? I can guarantee you, vouch for a fact that every session in the net, Shardul would bat. He would get at least half an hour to bat. And during test matches, Vikram, when we are bowling, Vikram Rathore would be working with all the reserves. He would make sure, and we had those slingers with us. They have done an exceptional job with our batting, and they would be tirelessly working the whole day during a test match, feeding these bowlers, balls to play with, and that has really helped this team a great deal. And we are, and to answer your question in particular, yes, we were aware that Shardul is capable of batting.
Yes, the final two now, Khurram Habib and then Sanjeev Kumar.
Sir, how do you look forward to the England series? I know, India will be playing at home. It should be much easier, but England probably provides a stiffer batting challenge. They have better batsmen. They seem to have better batsmen than Australia. So how do you, what are your plans going to be, for England?
For us, every match is a huge challenge. We can't really say the England batting is better than Australian. Australia, we played them in their home conditions. I would like to quote what my colleague, the fielding coach Sridhar, said earlier in the interview. He said that it took us 2 days to forget the 36 all out. Yes, we were depressed, but then we had to put that behind us and work on the future, and we have to move on. Similarly, we have done an exceptional job in Australia. Yes, we have enjoyed the moment. Last 2 days have been really good. We have enjoyed, we have savored each and every part of our success. But again, we need to forget this also. We have to leave this behind us and look forward for the future of the England tour. And to be very specific, we would have our plans in place. There is time when we all get together. The quarantine, we have to quarantine for a week before the series, and that's when all the planning would be done. And we are quite aware that England is a very, very tough team, and we'll have to be at our best to beat them, and we are quite prepared for that.
Sanjeev Kumar.
Thank you.
Hello, Bharat. This is Sanjeev from Bharat Times. Congratulations on this great victory. My question is that they say that in cricket you need to have partnership to win the games, and tell us something about your partnership with Ravi, because both of you know each other since your junior days, and as you said that this plan for this series started way back in July. So how it works well for the team, because you have very good understanding.
Yeah, I think as a head coach, Ravi has been outstanding. He gives you the freedom to work. And any of the support staff in this team would tell you that he gives you a lot of freedom to do your work, which means you can express yourself, you can be yourself without trying to be something which you are not. I think that's a very, very important quality for everyone to bring to the table. You have common goals for the team, but how can I contribute to this goal, and what can I bring to the table to be able to be successful in that goal, because the goal is common. And he's fantastic with all the support staff, and the fact that we know each other well, it is good. We discuss, we have our arguments, we have our showdowns. It's not always like friendship. Yes, we have our showdowns, we totally disagree on things, but again, at the end of the day, when we decide on something, we stick to it, and we make sure that that's what we need. That's the most right thing to do. Then we discuss it with the captain, the other support staff, and things like that. Understand what they feel, and then all our strategies are formulated. So I think it helps when you know a person that long. It does help. It makes it a lot more easier to agree and to disagree, also, which is very, very important in any relationship.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arun sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.